Coach, you're on with Jeff and Dave, San Diego Sports Leader, Double X 1090. Appreciate the time as always. Where would that game have been Saturday if it wasn't for the efforts of Chase Tapley?
That was a hard-fought, emotionally charged game by both teams. And I thought that Chase was a catalyst to get us going back offensively, but we had a group effort. If you go back and watch the tape, there were so many things that we did to fight our way back into that game, both offensively and defensively. But Chase sure was the guy that got us going with his offense.
You talk about fighting back, Coach, and it really did. 10 minutes to go. You're down by 12, 58-46 on the bench. If Dave and I had the opportunity to listen in, what's the thought pattern between you and your coaches at that point?
Our team all season has had a MO of not panicking, regardless of the circumstances. And I thought we were poised then. Everybody was concerned, obviously. You get down, and we were down as much as 13. You get down double figures to a team like Vegas on their home floor, and what they do to everybody else, or what they have done, is they take 10 and turn it into 20. And we just found a way to chip away, and we did it by making sure we didn't give them easy baskets. You can't cut into a lead if they score on you. And I thought our defense kept us around. They're scoring in the 80s at home, and they scored 65 points in that game.
You're listening to head basketball coach Steve Fisher on the Dave and Jeff Show, San Diego Sports Leader, Double X 1090. Coach, can you talk about the end of the first half? Because you guys were playing great, and then all of a sudden the momentum went to UNLV. What happens at that point for you as a coach when you have to head into the locker room and your heads are down a little bit, knowing that, you know what, we gave up a little bit too much and we needed to stay strong?
They went on a 12-2 run to end the half. And what you have to do is forgive but don't forget. I use that phrase. You know, you can't dwell on what's happened. You can't do anything about what happened the last 4 or 5 minutes of the half. But you have to come out and make certain you don't have a costly turnover that leads to a run out. We had way too many turnovers. That you don't take an ill-advised shot, and we took a couple of those, and that you come back and know that you're good enough with 20 minutes to go to chip away in one possession at a time. And our thought at the end, we said, win the first 4-minute segment. At the TV timeout, at the 16 and under mark, let's be closer than we are right now. So that was the initial thought process. You know, we went into all the tactical X's and O's stuff, but from a mental state, that's what we talked about.
Coach, Laker fans used to be driven crazy by Phil Jackson as Phil Jackson refused to call timeouts, as it felt like in the fans' eyes things were falling apart on the floor. Through the years, have you developed a theory as far as when to call a timeout, or does it change game to game?
It's a gut feel. You just never say, well, we always want to take a timeout at a certain point of the game. At least I don't. I know there are coaches, if you watch, that for their own reasons take timeouts when many people say, well, why would they do that? But that's for their own purpose. You have the use it or lose it first half timeout. So everybody, for the most part, will take at least a timeout in the first half, or you lose it. You can't carry it over. What most of us like to do is have a carryover into that second half down the stretch if you need it. So that's the general thought process.
And, Coach, big game coming up tomorrow night facing New Mexico. Of course, we're trying to win another conference championship. What can we expect to see from New Mexico?
A red-hot team. They have won 5 in a row since we beat them at their place. Vegas beat them at Las Vegas. They've won by scores of 42 over Air Force, 32 over, I think, TCU, 25 over Colorado State. They've had 5 wins, all double figures, all 10 points or higher, with as much as a 42-point win. They're playing probably better than anybody in the league right now. They are tied for first with us, along with Vegas, and we beat them at their place. So you can imagine the charge that they'll have coming in here. We've got them at home. We're going to need our crowd to be every bit as good as it's been all season long, and we're going to need to come out with the same kind of energy and effort that we have all season.
Aztecs basketball coach Steve Fisher joins us on the Corky's hotline. San Diego State stays ranked at 13th in the current AP poll. You're listening to the Dave and Jeff Show on San Diego Sports Leader XX 1090. Coach, in a perfect world, do you like having big games like this on the road at UNLV, home to New Mexico? Do you like those back-to-back, or do you wish there was a little bit of a gap?
You have no control in our league over when you play a certain team. You looked at the schedule early on, and some people said, boy, they did you no favors on how you start out. But that's who you play. You can't worry about it. The one thing you know, you'll have a team will be ready to play. Both teams will be ready to play. And every player that puts on a pair of sneakers, they want to play games of this magnitude. And that's what it is. This is a high-profile, big-time game with two teams that are both very, very good. New Mexico is a top 25 team. They should be rated. That's what they're saying now. They're saying the old Rodney Dangerfield no respect card. We win against San Diego State, we're going to be ranked. So there's motivation on both sides, but this is a big game, and you can't let your guard down at all. And we'll be ready to play. And from the standpoint of playing back-to-back, I don't think it's a huge issue either way.
You're listening to Steve Fisher on the Dave and Jeff Show on San Diego Sports Leader XX 1090. Coach, do you watch the other teams? Do you watch the other top 25 teams as you guys are getting ready for the big tournament, the big dance, to see maybe who are the tougher teams out there? Getting a chance for myself as a basketball fan. Love watching Kentucky, North Carolina, Syracuse and their defense. Do you get a chance, or is Aztec basketball take up all your time?
At this stage, I watch for enjoyment on occasion. I don't watch, given the nature of our practices, travel, games, and other responsibilities. I'll watch as a fan. Occasionally, I'll look and see something that I say, "Wow, I wonder how they did that." And we tape every game, so I'll make a little note and go back to one of our younger guys and say, "Hey, pull up the out of bounds play that so and so ran and take a look at it." But I watch as a fan. I look at the scores in the morning on the paper to see how everybody has done. I've got a lot of friends in this business who are coaching, some of whom are top 25 teams, some of whom are not.
Coach, you've made this a basketball town. We were just talking to Mark Fabiani about the ongoing quest to get a new football stadium built in San Diego. A lot of talk now of a new arena coming to town with it. And last week, Dave and I started talking about what could be an anchor tenant. You're a guy who has spent time in the NBA. You obviously have an incredible resume in college basketball. You think NBA could work here? Could the NBA work right here in San Diego?
I would think that it could. Everybody says, well, way back, it didn't work. But I, without any reservation, would think, given the makeup of our county and locale, we're close enough to other parts of California. You move north up the coast, and you've got a huge population that I'm sure would say, hey, let's not drive to the Staples Center to see the Clippers or the Lakers. Let's drive down to San Diego to see whoever might be there. So I would have to think that without any reservation in my mind, it definitely could.
Before we let you go, Coach, Dave and I have started a segment. We're asking all our guests who join us a question of the week. And the question this week is, what was the first concert that you bought tickets to? Coach, do you remember the first concert that you bought a ticket to?
Probably before either of you were born, 1963, Illinois State University, Peter, Paul, and Mary.
Wow. We have gotten some great answers this week. It's going to be, do you remember the show, and was it what you hoped for?
It was fantastic. They were the rage at the time, and it was a full house, and I had a great time. Great.
Coach, it's going to be a great time at a full house tomorrow night, Viejas Arena. 20-4 New Mexico taking on our 20-4 San Diego State Aztecs. Can't thank you enough, Coach. We always enjoy the time. Best of luck tomorrow night.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.